In this tutorial, I'm going to give you tips on how to pose men. Hi, my name is Daniel Asante. I'm an award-winning fashion content creator who models for fashion brands and teaches men and women how to pose for photos. In this tutorial, I'm going to give you tips on how to pose men. I'm going to teach you how to go from this to this. Today, I'm with a good friend of mine, Manlike Nabs. Hey, what's up? So, as you guys know, he's big on YouTube. He has amassed close to 10 million followers. So guys, check him out for viral content. So, you're a man in front of the camera and you wonder to yourself, how do I go from posing bad to posing good? So you're a man in front of the camera and you wonder to yourself, how do I start? Because usually when men are in front of the camera, they don't really like to be photographed as much as women. So when men tend to take photos, they tend to take photos in this position, like this. So when men usually take photos, they usually put their hands on top of their crotch like this, which is basically covering our most sensitive part. This type of body language would suggest to people that we are feeling uncomfortable, even though we're just waiting for a photo. So, as you can see, I've also parted my feet. What I've noticed is when you part your feet as a man, it doesn't really look great for photos. Because here's what happens. Like I mentioned before, curves define the female form. However, when it comes to men, shoulders and chest define our form. Now, if you want to emphasize something, you push it towards the camera or you push it towards the light. So in this case, for a male, the chest and shoulders will be directed towards the camera or towards the light. And also the waist further back, which we'll get to shortly. And as far as the feet is concerned, you always need to remember when it comes to posing for men, posing starts from the feet. Because even if you're photographing head and shoulders, you always need to understand what's happening down there. Because ultimately, this will have an effect on this. So I often think of posing like architecture. We have our peaks and valleys. So if curves define the female form, if me and him are standing like this, well, there's no peaks and valleys. There's no shape to this. We often refer to posing like letters. So for example, the way we're standing right now is literally like an I. There is a line and a dot, which is equivalent to nothing. But what we ultimately need and should want is a V. Some sort of shape. We often talk about the strong V when it comes to gymming. So a lot of guys would want a shape that's like a V shape. So when it comes to posing, we need to also show that. So look what happens. If you turn your body at an angle, 45 degrees like this, right? Always remember, the light is coming from a particular direction. In this case, the light is coming from there. Most of the time, we want to turn our body as the male towards the light. So posing is not just understanding posing. We also need to understand posing according to the light source, meaning which direction is the light coming from? Is it coming from the right? Is it coming from the left? It's good. If you like videos like this, don't forget to click the link in the description to have access to my posing guide that will take your photos to the next level. So if the light source is coming from this direction, for example, which it is in this case, as you notice, we're gonna look more broader and bigger because we're facing towards the light, even if we're wearing the color black, like I am in this case. So now what's going to happen is, even though I've turned my body towards the light at a 45-degree angle, I'm still going to need to do this. Now pay attention. So you turn at a 45-degree angle, right? Put your legs together like this, yep, like this. Okay, bend the knee, right? So all the weight is on your back leg, as you are. Put this a bit forward, yeah. Push your leg a bit forward more, yeah, like this. Okay, hands in pocket, like he's already doing. Lean forward, like this, okay? Now, look towards the light, but still leaning forward. So still have your neck extended, but look towards the camera. Perfect. Now remember, if you're wearing a jacket with 2 buttons, okay, in this case, I'm wearing a double-breasted suit. Manlike Nabs is wearing a 3-piece suit, right? So as you can see, Nabs right now needs to do his top button up. So if you do your top button up. Okay, so that's perfect. However, I don't want him to do his bottom button up. We always leave the bottom one undone. You know why? Because we need room and space to breathe. Now let's hang our body and do a glorified slouch. Now we need to turn our body slightly towards the camera. So now what you can see is now we have a V. We have peaks and valleys. If your legs look thinner, your upper body looks wider, which will give you a strong V shape. But anyways, standing with our hand on our crotch like this is okay if we're a security guard, but we're not, okay? So in that case, we need to have some movement. If you look at Nabs right now, you can see he has peaks and valleys. So there's like a V created in his posture. Whereas with me standing like this, I look like an I. There's barely any movement. There's nothing here. This is not good for photos. So as you can see, Nabs looks classy, but he can also look casual. I look empty and boring. Think of all the male icons that we've seen in movies, such as Marlon Brando hanging on a bike, right? So it obviously shows that men like to hang. And when I mean hang, I'm not talking about down below, I'm talking about hang, you know. This is just part of what we do as men. So now let's reset and unravel for a second. And I want to show you guys the easiest way to pose someone. Let alone in this case, we're talking about posing tips for men. And that is this: simply get your subject to mirror you. So the best way to practice posing is to actually look in front of the mirror. So right now I'm gonna use Nabs as my mirror. So he's literally gonna have to copy my movements. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys. Turn to the side like this. So I'm gonna pretend Nabs is my mirror, basically. So copy every movement I do, yeah? You ready? Yeah. Are you sure you're ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. Okay, bend your knee like this. Okay, leg closer. Okay, hand in pocket. Lean forward. Don't kiss me though.
No, that's Diddy.
Okay,
Diddy,
look to the side. Look to the side. There you go. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no Diddy.
So what I've done now, guys, is literally proven with a bit of movement and a bit of a smile, is that you can literally go, within seconds, go from a bad pose to a good pose. And that getting people to mirror you is actually the easiest way to get better at posing. And if you attach a humorous thought, like me and Nabs did in that moment with the no Diddy funny comment he made, we attach a bit of sense of humor, which makes posing more exciting and is not demonized. We are more relaxed with it. So when we talk about posing, we often talk about posing as if it's a bad thing. But it's not actually a bad thing. It actually brings out the best in you when taking photos. So whether it's a guy or a girl being photographed, it's important to establish this. Because as handsome as you are, you can always shine brighter with a simple direction. It's important that whoever's photographing you or whoever's being photographed establishes that posing is part of the process to bringing out the best in you. And we need to stop demonizing posing and make it less taboo. So on to the next topic. How do we use our hands while posing? Because our hands, in my opinion, is like the second most expressive thing after your eyes. The eyes don't lie, Chico. They don't lie. Now, here's the problem. This is what photographers tend to do to their subject, which is nothing. So now, if you put your hands naturally, the question is, how would you do it? Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 examples of what you don't do with your hands while posing. Okay, Nabs, copy me, yeah? Okay, so you don't do this.
Don't do that.
Yep, never do that, because now you look like a security guard. Also, never do this with your hands. So like this, I'm going to show you, Nabs. Never do this when you're posing with your hands in your pocket like this, because this can come across as quite feminine. The third thing to avoid while posing is putting your hands in your pockets like this. You know why? Because if you look at my little 2 thumb fingers, it looks like I'm pointing towards my penis, which is not the whole point of posing. It looks very uncomfortable, as you can see.
I'm uncomfortable already, to be honest with you. This is uncomfortable. What is this?
So let me rephrase that. So body language would say, with those 3 poses that I showed you, that we're feeling relaxed. And yes, it's relaxing. However, it's not aesthetically pleasing. In my humble opinion, I would suggest just putting your whole hands in your pocket like this. Literally, in your pocket or out. You don't have to have it in your pocket like this or like this. No, that's a no-no. Especially when you're wearing tailored trousers like we are, it's always better to just have your hands in. Even if you're wearing jeans, the same applies. Okay, another tip is you can always combine the poses. What do I mean by that? Because sometimes we can overpose, which can come across as quite feminine, which can also become an issue when posing. So in my opinion, if you're posing with one hand in your pocket, always be doing something with your other hand. So here are a few poses you can use while using your hands. So as you've seen in the examples, there's several ways you can use your hands while posing. So the first one, put your hand in your pocket and then one hand on your jacket like this. You can also put both your hands on the jacket like this. You can also adjust your watch. So Nabs, this is your perfect time to show off that.
Yeah.
Look at that watch. Have you seen that watch? Okay, so like this. You can also pose adjusting your cufflinks. You can roll up your sleeves. You can also cross your arms like this, especially if you've got small arms like me to look bigger. So the way to cross your arms is your fist like this, get your fist like this. Okay, now go like this, right? So then it looks more masculine. However, if you pose crossing your arms like this comes across as feminine. So this is a no-go if you're posing as a dude. Remember too that we are never going to be flat-footed like this or standing straight like this. Never like this, because now you look like a penguin. So instead, we have to combine these ideas. So we're going to turn our body 45 degrees, facing a light source, like this. Okay, we're going to bend our knee, hands in pocket, lean forward like this, right? With our chest out, right? Cross your arms now, in a fist, like this. And then look into the camera. So now, as you can see, we have a V rather than an I. So basically, depending on the body shape, the body type, and your face, the shape of your face, will determine how you pose. So for example, let's say we have a plus size guy, right? And his hands is like this on his crutch, and he's facing the camera. This won't look good because his gut will be all out, you know, literally all out. And then his chin will be like double. And that's not something we want while we're posing, right? So the best way to pose, if you're plus size also, is to turn to the side, like I said before, facing the light source, literally. And literally, you've got to extend your neck, like you're a turtle. Extend your neck further, because this will make you look slimmer, because your body, your waist, is away from the camera. So don't forget, if you're photographing as a plus size guy, it's always important to emphasize what we did earlier. So for example, if we turn our bodies towards the light source like this, and then we have our feet together like this. Oh yes, I almost forgot, when we were posing, we never want our feet to cross each other, right? Like this. We never want it to cross each other. Instead, we almost want it parallel, like this, yes. And then pose one foot by adjusting it at an angle, by bending our knee. So the weight is on our back leg. And then hands in pocket, and our shoulders and chest facing towards the camera, like this. So now we have a V. So always remember, as a guy, when you're posing, especially when you're wearing a suit, that there always has to be some form of movement. You can't just stand like this or like this. There always has to be some sort of movement, whether you're at an angle, bending the knee, you know, chest leaning forward, looking at an angle, facing the light, however, looking at the camera. So then there's a V shape created. So sometimes when we are posing at an angle, so like facing this way, sometimes our feet and our legs can look awkward. So sometimes it's better when you're taking the photos to capture it 3/4 or even portrait length. So in conclusion, all these ideas are great, but they also depend on the type of guy that's being photographed, on whether they lean far forward or not. So now we have established some posing tips for the male form. Let's put it into practice. I am now going to show you an additional clip of 8 poses you can use while taking photos. Some people would say when posing, you should stand straight like this. But the reason why I wouldn't suggest this, because let's say if you're a bit of a bigger weight, then it can expose your gut and your chin will look double, which is not what you want. But now, if we have a concave version of our upper bodies, as you can see, our gut is away from the camera, but our chest and shoulders are towards the camera. So when you pose like this, and one knee is bent, it creates a peak and a valley, which creates a V shape, which is what we want when we're taking photos for men. In conclusion, this will make you look bigger and broader for your photos, which is what you want as a guy, right? The reason why having your hands in your pockets like this is great is because it creates a gap and it improves your appearance in a silhouette fashion. The reason why having your hands in your pockets like this is great is because it creates a gap, as you can see on Nabs, and it broadens your appearance and creates a silhouette. And always remember to always feel relaxed, right? You don't want to be stiff while taking photos. It's not that serious.
I'm serious.
One good tip is before you have your photo shoots, just breathe in and breathe out. Just relax, relax. It's not that serious. And always remember, posing starts from the feet, so down below. So down below always needs to be relaxed. Hello. We usually need to bend the leg closer to the camera and all the weight on the back leg. We want to hang the body nice and relaxed. So guys, my suggestion is to always have a game plan to understand the foundation of the male pose. So right now I'm going to end this video by showing you 20 of the poses that I showed you throughout the video so you can use it as reference for your photo shoots. And always remember, it's already a no if you don't try. Stay blessed.